appear to be live. There is no cat. He's asleep in the hallway across from the kitchen on a scratch pad. Yeah, don't think we'll see him. Which is neither here nor there. We're here to do the Hidden Power of the Bible. I mean, I got up and have done my gym workout. I'm still clearly not functioning on all cylinders yet. There are towels all over this part of the hallway. But we think that we got the problem solved. We think that there was a clog in the air conditioner drain, and that it was seeping down the wall and then coming back up through the floor. So yeah. But we do have a plumber's appointment. Instead of having, because we had an AC and a plumber's appointment on Wednesday, what we did was we moved the plumber's appointment to Friday. So if we're still having a problem on Friday, we'll have the plumbers come out and look. But if not, hopefully we can cancel that. So yay. Yeah. So okay. Let's do the housekeeping really quick before we do the book. And all the housekeeping is me reminding you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. Website is creativelife.org. Constant contact email at info@creativelife.org. That will get you what email week, tells you what's going on for the week and the month, and the hot links are hot. So click here now means it. It is also a blind CC, so nobody will see your email. You want to know about anybody else's email list because of us for that reason. Okay, and then let me mention social media from the standpoint of we do not monetize it. We don't want to deal with the ads any more than you do, so we ask you instead go like, subscribe, follow based on which platform you're on, and then engage with the individual posts by reacting, commenting, and sharing. It bumps us in the algorithms, more people see our stuff, which is the whole goal of social media. So here we are. All right. Now, so it's a free and easy way you can support the center. Hidden Power of the Bible used to be called The Bible in Light Religious Science. Ernest was a big fan of the Bible. Now, when I was listening to Jesse talking class on talking class, he made a comment about Ernest never quoted. He very rarely told you where he got the Bible quote from, and apparently he was frequently not quite quoting it right. But to be fair, with the number of translations out there, who's to know? So I'm not going to hold Ernest's feet to the fire over that. But I do like to point out, this is not a very big book. He's only dealing with what he thought were the most relevant passages. Not that the whole Bible cannot be relevant to your life, but what he thought was the most relevant, especially in life science of mind. So we have been working our way through Matthew, meaning he's going to spend a bulk of his time on the teachings of Jesus. So, and because there were only two short articles two very small things in Matthew 15, and two short articles about Matthew 15, what I'm going to do is simply reread the one that goes with the article. So, if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. Then Jesus answered and said unto her, O woman, great is thy faith, be it unto thee even as thou wilt. And her daughter was made whole from that very hour. So that is Matthew 15. If the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. Okay, so that is the title of the article, When the Blind Lead the Blind. Okay? If the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. We must be careful what kind of thought we are following. We must test all ideas to see whether they are the truth. It is a mistake to accept every person's philosophy simply because it sounds plausible. Now, let me remind you, somewhere in another book, Ernest defined what he thought philosophy meant. And in that book, what Ernest said was philosophy is somebody's opinion. Somebody's opinion about life. So that's one of the things you always want to keep in mind is philosophy is just simply somebody's opinion. Now, they may be well educated, it may be a valid opinion. However, it's still somebody's opinion. And it's never a good idea to substitute somebody else's opinion for your own. What you can do, however, is examine their opinion, examine their philosophy, and decide what of it you want to incorporate into your own. Okay? So that's what we're talking about here. Simply because it sounds plausible, right? We are to be on guard against accepting that which is not true. And let us remember this: the truth is a simple, direct. The truth is simple, direct, and always self-evident. So one day I was listening to two ladies talk in my place of employment, and one of the ladies told the other lady a story, or said something, and I'm not going to tell you what, because it was, and she said, as if this is a fact, okay, because somebody had shared an article with her. At which point I went to the internet and put in the question and said, at which point, and now I don't trust AI any more than I can throw AI, but AI immediately went, yeah, no, that's not true. That came from a satire website. And I just went, oh. So one of the things that can be extraordinarily frustrating is that when you hear people say something as if it were true, and 2 minutes on the internet would tell you that it is not. That is what he's talking about. The blind leading the blind. Because obviously it was an article that was meant to make people angry. And when articles are meant to make you angry, then you are less likely to fact check them, especially if they confirm your bias. The blind are definitely leading the blind, especially in politics. So, especially if it sounds like rage bait, look it up. Look it up. There are good websites up to and including Snopes that will tell you, no, that's not true. Or yes, it is. Because occasionally I'll look things up going, that can't possibly be true, and find out it is. So, don't let the blind lead the blind. Do not substitute somebody else's opinion for your own, even if it sounds plausible. And the issue is when I heard these two ladies talking, what they said did not sound plausible to me, which is why I checked it out. Did I bother to go and inform them? No, because I wasn't going to change their opinion, and it wasn't worth the fight. So, but I did look it up, and yeah, no, it wasn't true. So, okay, so back to Ernest. False ideas heaped upon other false ideas make bad matters worse. The whole confusion of the world arises from fundamental errors in thought. Chief among these errors, and the father to a greater part of the others, is a belief in duality. The belief in duality supposes that evil is equal to good. That a suppositional devil divides the kingdom of truth with good. Such things cannot be. Remember the teaching of Moses, that God is one. If, on the other hand, we accept that evil has a power equal to good, then we must fall into the ditch of our own confusion. To believe in the good alone may seem fallacious to many, but they who believes thus will find their path lighted by a torch which flickers not nor fails. Okay? And it is hard. It is hard to believe in good being all that exists because the world is messy. And because a whole lot of the world does believe in duality. And that was one of the things that always, as a child, it never made sense to me. That the devil was as powerful as God. Yeah, no. And I don't even think most Christians believe that. But I think that most Christians do give the devil a lot more power than, this devil would actually have. So, they're always blaming the devil for their own misdeeds. And I'm like, no. Yeah. So, It's like, no. It's like, if you behave badly, that's on you. You don't get to blame the devil for that. You don't get to blame God for that. Now, can you blame other people? Maybe. But then why are you hanging out with people that are confusing you and making you do bad things? So, there's still that accountability going rear its ugly head. No, that's on you. That's on you. So, which is not a terribly positive note to end this on. But that's the whole point. That is the whole point. If we look around the world and if we look around our lives and we don't like the way it looks, well, it all comes back to who we think we are. And once we know who we are, the world around us is going to change because our perception of it is going to change. Do messy things still happen in my life? Yes. Do bad things still happen in my life? Yes. But I meet them with a different attitude now. And they don't stick around as long as they used to. And that is the point. Things are going to happen, because we are in relationship with a whole lot of people who don't know who they are, which is why, honestly, the most subversive thing that you could do is treat for somebody to know who they are. If you ask me to treat for another person, and I know you don't have permission for what you're asking me to treat for, especially if you're asking me to change their fundamental behavior, which I cannot do and would not do even if I could. What I can do is I can treat for, one, this person's highest and best, and two, for them to remember who they are. Remember that they are a beloved expression of the divine. Because there's a whole lot of people that have forgotten that. And if they could remember, life would be better for everybody involved. So, all right, beloveds, that's how I'm going to end on a positive note. Treat for people to remember who they are. That kind of is part of my daily spiritual practice, is for people to remember that they are beloved expressions of the divine or beloved children of God. That everybody remembers that. And that they see each other as the beloved children of God. Because, it does help for you to remember who you are, but also to recognize that everybody else is too. All right, so I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a you got this day, a take care of business day, a let's start wrapping this week up day, a drink plenty of water day, a stay out of the direct sunlight between 1 and 7. It's supposed to hit 98 today with a feels like of 108, so please be aware of the temperatures here today. We are in the dog days of August, so in the dog days of summer. And I was in the middle of encouraging you and inviting you to have amazing days. Hang on. I did say drink plenty of water, cuddle your fur babies day, tell somebody you love them day, look in the mirror and see God looking back at you day, remember who you are day, don't take anybody's word for it until you check it out day, don't accept anybody else's philosophy without checking in with the source of your own being day. Definitely don't let the blind lead the blind day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are a brilliant light, divine spark, spirit in motion, God in action, an absolutely beautiful masterpiece, and a work in progress at the same time at your own pace. And as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are godly. So explore the truth of your being. Get to know who the divine knows you to be. Because the divine knows you to be good. And from there, anything is possible. Anything at all is possible. Because all the divine knows is good. And that, my friends, is the good news. All right, moving on to the process of my day. I'm going to remind you, Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I should be back with you. Something like. I should be back with you in that 9:15 space. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved always. And I will see you next time.